Hey, there it started. Okay, so this is Time for Success Business Owner Moms edition. And we've got Sam Barkley with a mom around town, right?
Yep.
And so we're going to get the radio recording here going here in a second. But thanks for joining us. And again, this is kind of behind the scenes, so it's going to be kind of raw and as things happen. So, hopefully we don't embarrass ourselves too much. But all right, thanks. Looking forward to it. Oh, and then we've got Instagram World over. Is it going?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
For IGTV, you just take a video and you
Oh,
upload it. So
all right. That's right.
I'll
Okay,
have to-
sure.
Yeah. We'll
All
figure
right.
this out. It's the first time I've done this, so.
All right, cool.
Let's do this. All right.
All right.
That's right. Okay, I have a little tiny head, so.
All right, here we're back with Time for Success Business Owner Mom Edition, and we've got Sam Barkley, right, with Mom Around Town.
Yes. Hello, Matt. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thanks for coming out. It's our honor. So, real quick, this is the first edition of the Business Owner Moms, and I think we've got one of the best guests we possibly could have here for its first time for Business Owner Moms, because she's got all sorts of mom hacks just waiting for you. So, again, Time for Success. Really, what we're about is trying to help the business owner moms, business owner dads, who've got kind of the two sides of it, who are really trying to juggle all the things between business and family and faith and life and all those things, and really trying to make sure that they don't drop any of it, drop the ball on any of it. So we talk about some of the with real business owners such as yourself. We talk with people who really can help us to kind of figure out how do we maximize our time, how do we better leverage our time, how do we make the most of everything, and really make sure that we're having success in all those areas, because we're always like, well, I need to make time for this, I need to make time for that, and really we need to focus on some of those success principles to be able to make all those other things kind of fall in place.
Mm-hmm.
So a mom around town.
Yes.
What is that?
What is that? So Mom Around Town is a website directory. So it links parents to businesses to help them really make their lives easier. So
wonderful.
Hoping to connect parents to resources, services, businesses, so that they can really enjoy and get the most out of their day. So.
That's great. Well, that's perfect. Right on mission. Right on point.
Yes.
So how did this concept kind of develop for you?
Yeah. So I was on maternity leave. So I still work full-time. I have a full-time day job, if you will.
Yeah.
And I was on maternity leave. My son's a year and a half now. And I was Googling all the time, right? Like trying to find places to take him and things to do and mom groups and breastfeeding support. And I was just having trouble finding what I was looking for. And somebody would, give me like an inside track and tell me about a cool coffee shop where they had a play area, or tell me about a new support group that I could go to. And each time that happened, I was like, does everybody else know about this? Like, this is so awesome. And so I wanted to find a way to connect moms and families to these awesome resources that are all throughout St. Louis, but maybe aren't the easiest thing to find, or you kind of about them through somebody else. So I wanted to make that available so that everybody could find them easily.
Awesome.
So,
awesome. That's a great concept. I'm sure that there are so many people who struggle with that. I mean, I know that sometimes we struggle with that, in terms of what do we do? It's like, it's funny because St. Louis has a ton of great things to do, but but I hear friends who are in other cities where people are like, oh yeah, I want to go there because there's so much to do. And they're like, I don't know what to do. You just kind of get used to it, and you just kind of assume that there's nothing to do. So what are some of the little hidden gems here in St. Louis?
Well, there's a couple coffee shop play gyms. So Urban Fort and Grandma's Playhouse or Playroom.
That's a brilliant idea. I love
so
that.
they have an area for the parents to kind of hang out. Urban Fort actually has like a full coffee bar and restaurant.
Wow.
And you can kind of let the kids hang out and play inside. So when it's rainy, when it's cold, and you can kind of hang out. So it's really great to meet up with friends and sit and have some coffee while the kids are playing. It kind of takes that like McDonald's playground area like to a new level.
little bit,
yeah.
a little like maybe one more point on the upscale scale.
Yes. So what else? Oh, and then you've got like Rise Coffee House in the Grove and Hartford, and they both have little kids play areas as well. So those are a couple that I found are awesome to meet up with a friend.
Now, when you say like a kids play area, is it like a couple of puzzles over here, or like what does it look like?
Right. So the play gym areas are full. Like they're almost like the Magic House on a small scale, right?
Really?
Like one room.
Wow.
That you can hang out in. But they've got, a slide and a climbing gym, and they've got the area with the little stores, right, for the kids to play groceries in, and train tables and stuff like that. The two coffee shops they're a little bit more like, they have a little like fort area,
right?
And books and puzzles and toys and stuff like that.
Okay.
So it's just an area where they can hang out. That's not right next to you.
Yeah. Well, that's still great. I mean, so I mean, a lot of people these days are very concerned about the safety of their children. This is fair, right? You hear about that stuff on the news, whether or not it's more than it used to be. Who knows? But you hear about it a lot more. So in these places with the forts and with the play gyms and all that, I mean, does it feel like a safe place? I mean, is it fairly secure? Like,
yeah, I think that's actually
armed guards.
Right. I think that's actually one of my favorite things about them is you can tell, like, everybody's got each other's back, right? So
good.
Somebody's coming down the slide and there's like mom's ready to catch them, and like everybody's looking out for each other. And I really have kind of taken that from each of my experiences there, that there's kind of a camaraderie between the families and parents that are hanging out there. Yeah.
Well, sometimes you got the kids who are off school, and you still need to run your business, and you still need to meet with people. And a video conference helps, and that can be good.
Absolutely.
Although we've also seen some of those videos where like people are on like national news, and like the kids come barging in through the back door, and then the babysitter comes running in trying to pull. So that doesn't necessarily always work.
Yes.
But so maybe if you're meeting with somebody who understands the plight of being a business owner parent, you could do a meeting there and say, hey, bring your kids too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because people always meet in coffee houses, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that's a great way to bring somebody. Actually, I had such a meeting the other day, so that we met up so that the kids could play while we got some stuff done.
That's fantastic. Yeah. That's fantastic. And I don't know, this is the Business Owner Moms edition, but for Business Owner Dads, oftentimes it's kind of like, well, you brought your kids and whatnot. But I think it's good to kind of challenge that a little bit and try to be a little bit more understanding to that in a lot of ways. If it's not like a contract signing where you have to read all the lines or whatever, but if it's just kind of getting to know people, I mean, sometimes that's a better way of getting to know people, really. See how they interact with their kids.
Absolutely.
So what's the grander vision with the Mom Around Town? Like where do you want to take it? Where do you see it going?
Yeah, so I've only been doing it since January, so it's definitely still new, and I'm definitely still learning a lot about running a business and a website and all of that.
Right.
But what I'd really love to focus on is kind of that transition period from kind of like pregnancy through, maybe preschool or even just early postpartum where they're maybe a year or so. Because there's so much going on in that period that you're dealing with bringing it, whether it's a first child or, second, third.
Yeah.
You're transitioning into having a new baby, and there's postpartum depression, there's anxiety, there's breastfeeding issues, or other feeding issues, right? If you're formula feeding, and there's so much going on in that period of time. You need so much support and help. And sometimes it's stuff you don't even realize, and so I'd really like to kind of focus on that time period and help parents transition and have as much support as possible from all of the resources that are around them, because I think you don't even realize what you need sometimes until it's right in front of you. So as you were going through this process, because obviously you went, as you said, you postpartum, you were trying to figure out resources and to make this all work, and
juggle those responsibilities. So what were some of the biggest like aha moments, breakthroughs? I mean, even if it was kind of a small thing, we're like, oh my gosh, yes, for you, kind of going through that process.
Yeah. I think some of the, like, food, right? Eating dinner on the table, or having a nice meal together, whatever, can be such a difficult thing when you are dealing with a newborn, or maybe you have a toddler and you have a newborn, and your husband goes back to work and now you're just at the house and you don't know what to do, right? So that seems like kind of a little thing, but having a nice dinner together was like something that I really wanted. And we actually found there's a few of them, but we utilize Time for Dinner, which has frozen meals that you can go pick up. Actually, they have a service for new moms, and so you can go pick up all these frozen meals, and then it feels like you have a home cooked dinner. With just turning the oven on. So that was one of my ahas, like, I don't have to spend an hour in the kitchen. Like, it's okay for me to kind of outsource this.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, I've learned a lot about outsourcing. So
Right. Exactly. Well, yeah, and as a business owner, outsourcing is key, especially as you're a smaller company and you can't quite afford yet, some of the bigger things, or in your business or even in your life. So that's a really neat way that you can kind of get that home cooked meal, because unfortunately for business owner moms is they've got all the responsibilities of business, but there's still not quite the balance of some of the home duties as well in a lot of cases.
Yes.
And so there's still maybe the expectation. Now, I mean, for my wife, I try to go in the kitchen and then she just like she like hits me with the towel or something like that, tells me to get out. But I probably should be more assertive about it. No, go sit on the couch and let me take care of this. But that's a fantastic time hack, because McDonald's just doesn't really cut it for most people these days, right? Yes.
So this gives you something healthier and options, and maybe that's not the right fix for you, but there are things within your household duties that you can find help with, or ways to outsource or to reduce them. To try to kind of reduce those duties to be able to focus on what you want to spend time doing. Because nobody wants to do laundry, right? So if you can, help reduce the time you have to spend doing that, you can enjoy doing more things. So,
So do you outsource your laundry too?
I wish. We did decide to hire a cleaning lady once a month, and that's made a huge difference too.
That's huge.
So just finding those little things that you're willing to kind of give up. But no, I fold all my laundry while I watch This Is Us, so it works.
That's awesome. So, for the business owner moms out there, what would you say is going to be kind of like the biggest bang for your buck, though, in terms of like leveraging your time that you've seen, that you've got, that you've featured on your website?
Yeah, so I have kind of like 6 strategies that have to do with getting more done in less time. And I think a couple of the really important ones, one is setting time blocks, and the other is, they all go together. So you have to set priorities, time blocks, and time limits, right? So you need to know what's important, because there's so much on your list, right? So what are the top important things that you have to get done today, and just focus on those and let the rest of it go. Focus on those top 3 priorities. And then set yourself a time block. At this time, cross it off on your calendar, set yourself an alarm. At this time, I'm going to work on XYZ, and that's the only thing I'm going to focus on. And give yourself a deadline, because once you start, you can go down the rabbit hole so easily. So if you say, I have 20 minutes to focus on this and get this one thing done, you're going to get it done. But if you give yourself an hour, it's going to take you an hour, right? So give yourself a deadline, block off the time, and focus on one task. And you'll find that you get that one thing done, and you can move on to the next. Right.
Oh, that's excellent. That's excellent. So now, how has your family kind of adjusted to you? Because you're still working full-time, which is where most business owners kind of start. They're working their full-time job, and then they're trying to kind of get their other baby, right? The business kind of off to a good start, and they're trying to get. So how is your family kind of adjusting to that?
Yes. That's a great question. I think that's, I don't know, one of those things where you definitely have to look at those household duties and figure out where other people can help you. Right.
Yeah.
So, pretty much after bedtime is my key work time, but that usually was time that I got to hang out with my husband. Right. So, so we've had to kind of compromise a little bit on our time to be together, and just relax together. So that's kind of my focus time. And so if he can handle bedtime and I can work a little bit extra, then we can hang out together, right? We can, catch up on whatever show we have DVR.
Right.
And so, but yeah, that's kind of my like key time. And then the weekends, so he has some dad friends, right, that they will head out on Sunday and head to the park, and that gives me like a couple hours block where I can really focus. So yeah, those are kind of the key times that he's had to help out, and luckily he's very supportive, that he's had to kind of step up to be able to allow me to pursue this.
That's great. That's great. Now, does he have a business too, or does he work a full-time job as well?
Yeah, so he works for the Army Corps of Engineers.
Oh, great,
So yeah, works in their construction group. He actually does some of their disaster recovery stuff, so he spent a good deal of time in Puerto Rico this past year. So that was a whole different adjustment for me to be doing all together. So, yeah.
Yeah, because if the other person's not there at all,
yeah, then you really have to figure it out. So and that's places like the YMCA where you can drop off your kid for a couple hours and you can do 20 minutes on the treadmill and then get an hour and a half of work time in, where like godsends at that time. So,
Oh, that's great. So finding some YMCA classes, I guess, or did you just drop the kid off like at the front desk?
They have childcare areas.
Oh, did the
right?
childcare?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, all right. Didn't know if maybe you found some of those classes.
But yeah, that's a good idea too. Yeah, they have swim class, gymnastics class, whatever. They could play with while you work. So
yeah. My wife is she also has a business, and so one of the things that she'll do, which is great, is she'll take my daughter to gym, like a gym class, and so she'll be able to kind of sit there and work while she's doing that, and all that. So so that's great. So we talked a little bit before about kind of the vision for a mom around town. Are you planning on just expanding in St. Louis? Are you wanting to take this to other cities? Like what?
Yeah. So my initial vision was like, I want it to be a Yelp for moms, and I want to be like, national. That would be amazing. But as I've kind of like, the more I've understood kind of like my why I want to put this out in the world, the more I've kind of like niched down to that period where you need a lot of support in that transition time. And to, I think, really help the most people, I want to start with St. Louis and really have firm roots in St. Louis and be able to give that support and then start moving out from there. So there's a lot of support online, right, too. There's a lot of businesses that are just online based that provide this to people who maybe don't live in a city with so much to offer. So I'd love to kind of expand that as well.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Well, so you're going to really build and refine the model here in St. Louis, and then maybe try to take that to other cities once you have it more refined.
Yes, definitely. Okay. Yeah.
So I'm guessing that you're looking for more resources and whatnot and ideas as well to be able to add to it. And
absolutely.
Are you trying to you're trying to build kind of a community around this of people who support each other?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So I'm always looking for counselors, social workers, postpartum doulas, midwives. I mean, those kind of all help in that transition area. Lactation consultants, like people who really kind of serve new moms, and then businesses that help serve that as well. So there's lots of, nonprofits and LHA League and MOPS groups and services and resources that are provided as well. So
other business owner moms who want to help other business owner moms, or just moms in general.
Definitely.
I mean, your service is not just necessarily about the business owner mom. It's about any mom, new mom especially, going through that transition period. Just
yeah.
making sure that we're clear on that. Yeah. But especially the business owner moms who have a business and they can't identify and they want to support that. So like, where do people go? Is it just to your website, to your Facebook page, or how is there a group, a Facebook group?
There's all of it, yes.
Yeah.
So we're on Facebook and Instagram, and I do have a St. Louis specific Facebook group that sets up play dates and then kind of gives information about things that are going on in St. Louis or resources in St. Louis.
Yeah.
So there's that, and then there's the website that so pretty much how the website works similar to Yelp, right? It's a listing website, so you type in something that you're searching, and then all of the listings within that grouping come up so that you can find what you're looking for. So then you can filter too on like what age your kid is and maybe what their interests are, or if you're looking for a restaurant but you also need a changing table. Like, I don't know if you've been to restaurants without changing tables, but that's the worst when you have a blowout.
Oh, no, yeah.
So you can search for, kind of filter through the listings to find exactly what works for you.
So how do you find a lot of that? I mean, is it just from the community or just your own research, or?
Yeah, lots of more Googling, right? So yes, lots of Googling. And there are some good resources that have a lot of businesses. So Fun for Kids, STL, and Kids Out and About are two websites that have a great listings of other businesses.
Oh, good.
So I kind of pull from other resources that are available, but just what kind of caters to my audience. So,
that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. So when the business is super successful and you've got all that stuff in place. So what kind of things are you really building the business for in terms of like, is it family? Is it, I mean, you said a little bit about your why before. I mean, what does that look like?
I certainly stepped off on this to be able to spend more time with my one son. Maybe there's one coming down the road sometime. Right. But so my day job, I travel a lot. So I'm gone and would love to be able to be home a little bit more, as well as, I think any working mom, like, you feel like you kind of miss out on like going to story time and heading to the park in the afternoon, and you miss those, or even going to the zoo, right? Saturdays the zoo is flooded, but if you go on a Wednesday morning, you got prime seating, right? Anywhere you want to go. So like, I would just love to spend a few more mornings just hanging out, right? With my little guy and getting to go do all the fun things that I talk about doing. So that's kind of where I'd love to, that's kind of my why. Yeah. Be able to have this business moving full time so that I can just say, hey, this morning we're going to, head over to the Magic House and we're going to hang out together. So, instead of going to daycare. Right.
So,
yeah.
So you travel a lot now. Does that mean that when you have all that time and you have the money, that the success and all that, you're probably going to travel less, or are you wanting to travel to more exotic locations?
Right, more fun places, maybe with my family.
Right, maybe bring them along.
Yes. So I do get to. I was just actually in China and Vietnam with my job, which was really cool. But was just me, right? So by the time so it was really fun until you're like, oh, I miss everybody. So
right.
I'd love to travel and see more. Every time I go on a trip, I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish they were all with me, right? So I'd love to be able to bring them along and go more fun places, right? Factories aren't usually in the coolest locations, so. Right.
Yeah. So your husband obviously is doing everything he can to support you as well. Do you guys kind of do some dream sharing? Do you guys have like a vision board or anything like that you guys put up together to kind of stay on mission?
I have a vision board, and I think he kind of laughs when he walks past it, like, oh my goodness. So he's a bit more of a
he's an engineer.
Yes, he's an engineer.
Not that, but he's an engineer.
Yes, exactly.
Let's be
so very logical and rational, and but he's totally on board with whatever my dream is, which is awesome. So
that's good. That's good.
And I think he's totally on board with the idea of traveling to fun, exotic places.
Right, right. I mean, both things are very logical for a husband, so that's good.
Yes,
That's
yes.
good that he's there to support you. So, you know, now since we're kind of like, you know, the public radio, I can't necessarily do an advertisement, but if somebody wanted to, what's like maybe a good email address for you, or maybe a good way for people to give you some more sites, or like what is a good way for people to do that?
So info@amomaroundtown.com is the email, but you can find me, like you said, on Facebook or on Instagram. It's both at a mom around town. And so if you're a business owner or a service based and you want to be listed on the website and you want to reach more moms, I'd love to talk to you. Or if you're a mom that, you know, wants the 6 strategies for how to get more done, if you're a mom that just wants to find some other, you know, moms to hang out with.
Too, right?
Yeah.
6 strategies.
Yeah, the 6 strategies is a little is an ebook.
Yeah.
So if you go to amomaroundtown.com, there's an icon. It's free. It's in your email once you sign up. So
awesome.
So you can find me all those ways.
Okay. Well, great. And do you, if anybody really wants to take a bigger like a place and promote on your website, do you have advertisers and whatnot on there so they can get their message out a little bit more because they care about the business owner mom community or the mom community? I'm sorry.
Definitely. There's the ability to put more like as a featured business type of
business.
thing.
Okay, great.
And we can do some stuff on the front page to kind of showcase.
Oh wow, that's great. So somebody's got the target market of moms, especially moms who are in transition, trying to figure out how do you balance your life. I mean, the meal planning community would be huge for that, obviously. So please go to amomaroundtown.com.
That's it.
And check it out and reach out. So again, this is Matt Barkley with Time for Success. I had Sam Barkley with A Mom Around Town. And thank you everybody for listening.
All right. Thanks so much.
All right.
That was it, huh?
That was it.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I had phone calls. I don't know what was happening.
It's all right. Oh, hi, Jessica. Good to see you. All right. I'm going to shut this off. Thanks for watching, everybody.